on, fam? How is everybody doing? I hope you are enjoying your lead up until the weekend, and we're not gonna make this too complicated. We're not gonna try to stay here all day. Might take a couple calls to get y'all in, but we got to get down to business. I will have the next book club book too. The next time we meet on Monday. But let's get to it, fam. Let's have a conversation. Hit the like button while you're in here, please. Just hit that for me. I would appreciate it. Just hit that like button. It costs you nothing. Subscribe. Do all that good stuff. But let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this conversation. You know, Dr. Sandy Darity had a conversation. I have to contextualize this conversation to you, though, so that you understand. We're talking about a conversation with national media, meaning that you're not making mistakes. When you come to talk to national publications, you have a plan. You know exactly what you're doing. Let's just start right there, if we can. Let's just start right there. You know exactly why you came. You know exactly what you're going to do. And during that interview, Dr. Darity did something that he called a trial balloon. Now, let me just say this. I didn't touch this. Yesterday, somebody said it, and I took it down. And I said, well, wait a minute. I might not have heard what I think I heard, because he said something that sounded like he was leaving the door open in terms of reparations for black immigrants. But I said, hold on a second. Maybe I'm wrong, because they chop up the interview, and during that moment, he said that, but then he switched real quick to CARICOM. So I said, maybe they spliced it wrong or whatever. Get here the next day, and I see this. My trial balloon on possibly considering pre-1950s black immigrants to the U.S. for inclusion in pure reparations. That's anything but pure, sir. Claim as an exception to the lineage criterion has been met with criticism, much of it very well reasoned. I won't repeat this idea. Always steadfast. There are a lot of words that I would use to describe this, but steadfast is not one of them. Let me tell you, remember when we all first started having this conversation, and we decided, and we were talking about, well, like, what happens in terms of black immigrants? We've already, as ADOS, see, this is why economists don't lead movements. There's a place for them in movements, but economists don't lead movements, because we've already decided this. Darity hasn't. He hasn't gotten that far. We're over here, you over here. But we have decided that the way to include not only black immigrants, but black Americans who are non-ADOS, is to have a transformative black agenda that includes them. What you do not do, what you cannot do, is throw out a weather vane that gives away our sacred, or negotiates away our sacred justice claim. Please hear me. There's a reason why other communities do not do this. The Jewish community, in terms of the Holocaust, they do not say, well, we're going to include everybody else. They say we're old. When Native Americans go do stuff, they don't say, well, the only way we're going to get this to pass is if we get ADOS in here with us. They say, no, this happened to us. The Trail of Tears happened to us. Jewish people say the Holocaust happened to us. Japanese internment victims did not say we're going to include other Asians. They said, no, this happened to us. And if you are willing to negotiate on that, you will negotiate and you will cave on anything. If you can't stand on that square, which we have already resolved that is the square, you will fall for anything. You will be on that reparations committee, and you will fall for whatever, because you have decided that you are going to hold up a weather balloon. Now hold on, a little trial balloon. Now I just want to bring this up 1 second to help everybody understand how intentional this was. Definition of a trial balloon: a project or scheme tentatively announced to test public opinion. This was a plan. And if you all know Darity's history, you know he's done this before. This is not something that just happened. This is not just, well, this is just a mistake. Us just gotta move on. Because right before he said that stuff about the trial, like, people have to pay attention to what is said. Right before he said that, he said this. Like right around the same time. Let's pull this up really quickly. I hate fork tongue people. Don't be a fork tongue with me. I hate that. Now tell me the truth. The worst thing than a liar is a fork tongue liar. So you say this, right? On Twitter. See, this is the thing. This is the thing you should be saying at NPR, not the thing you say on Twitter. Don't say two things and then say one in a place where everybody is and somebody might or might not see it, and where ADOS is a lot of the time, especially during COVID. If we alienate the diaspora by insisting on the specificity of the claim of Black American descendants of persons denied the promised 40 acres, so be it. CARICOM does not include our people in their claim on the UK, nor the Congo in their claim, nor should they. Here's the problem, though. See, there are a number of problems, and here's the problem. Here's the problem. You say this. Stay with me, fam. You say this. Right? But you also say this in the same week. These things are contradictory. These things are contradictory. This is not trustworthy. Everybody say, well, Yvette, you just always so mean, and you just don't want, you just too combative, and you just too. Yes, because I have something worth protecting that requires all kind of claws and fangs and everything. Because there's something here worth protecting. It's not negotiating away. And let me tell you something. You get one shot with this. You mess this up, don't come back talking about, well, we sorry, Yvette. We thought Darity could lead. Who thinks an academic can lead? An academic is supposed to inform. And we have other academics. Before Darity came along, Antonio interviewed Shapiro. We had the foundation was based on Thomas Piketty and Capital in the 21st century. You use Darity and his information, as well as all the information of all the other economists. What you don't do is you don't deify that person and then do like those knuckleheads did at BTP, talking about this is our Bible, this is our Quran. You don't make an academic book. Put an academic book on the same level as a religious text, because in that religious text, the canon is unwavering. There is a set of values that you have decided you are going to abide by that are unchanging. That is the core of religiosity, the unchangingness of it. Anything, the number in terms of reparations, how much, whatever, you don't want to marry yourself to that, because we could have a new discovery that says, you know what? That's not enough. You know what? It has to be done differently. You don't marry yourself to something that is academic, which is why you don't elevate an academic to be the leader of your movement. But that's what y'all tried to do. You just want to get it out from over here. That's what you tried to do. And now here you are. Now you stuck with a trial balloon. Because you know what happens with a trial balloon? This particular trial balloon. What happens? If you do this, if you do what Darity's calling on y'all to do, we got to get people on board. And so we have to include Black immigrants and non-ADOs. We have to include them in reparations. No, we have to include them in a Black agenda, and we will. But what happens is, what Darity is doing, and he's playing with fire. If you crack that door open and say, well, it's for these. See, I saw another knucklehead, formerly of the assembly, now known as was it Nasty? I mean NASD, NAASD, Nasty. that's the group now saying, well, you have to negotiate these things, and you can't kind of give up on the once in a millennial bill for this. Let me ask you this, Machiavelli. How do you think you're talking about how to negotiate with black immigrants? Do you forget that white people still run this country? Do you forget? We know we got a lot of people of color in there. We know this is complex, but you leaving white people out for some reason. You act like they don't exist no more. How do you think they react, Mr. Strategist, if you include black immigrants and black Americans who are not ADOS in this? How are you going to explain to white people, listen, you didn't, the harm done to them wasn't here, but you got to pay them anyway. White America hasn't even agreed to pay us, and they've owed us since the end of the Civil War. You're talking 1865, whatever. They haven't paid us, and you telling me they going to pay somebody else? You telling me that's good strategy? You telling me it's good strategy to put something in there that white people will never agree to? That's good strategy. No, but see, that's why y'all did this. All this stuff that's been going on. See, when people say, well, you know, we just haven't been getting enough done last year. Yeah, we haven't. What y'all haven't seen is all these backbiting stuff that's been going on. That's why a lot of stuff hasn't been going on. Because people been doing all kind of stuff, and Darity been talking to chapters, and everybody trying to lead and go their own way. That's one of the reasons stuff is stalled. Because people can't leave well enough alone, and they just have decided we're not going to go with the people who've been right. We're not going to go with the people who started this movement. We're going to go with Darity. And Darity has been wrong politically. See, you can be right economically in terms of your data or whatever kind of work you do. And you can be awful in terms of politics. It was Darity who told us, I got somebody in Sheila Jackson Lee's office. So don't criticize her. We went with that for a year. Y'all got them edits yet? Since he got an N, you got them edits yet? You finished them edits yet? No. He got an N. He got an N. You can be decent at one thing and not good at another thing. And I say decent. I did not say superb. I did not say outstanding. Because let's talk about all of it quickly. If we're going to talk about all of it, let's just put everything on the table. Even when you get to Darity's for at least 12 years, in terms of before the enactment of a reparations program, would have had to have self-identified as black, Negro, African American. Why is it 12 years? See, because you have to fix all the loopholes so that people who ain't supposed to be in here don't get in here. So what happens is, as it's currently written, this is a multi-generational plan. Somebody says they can claim black on the census, right? Or whatever, for a couple times, and then say, you know what, I've been claiming black. You got to get away from these loopholes. Antonio told Darity about another flaw in his plan. He said, you know what, your plan, Darity, currently would allow Obama to get reparations. Because you say have claimed black, that's Obama. Right? And be able to trace an ancestor back to slavery. Well, you know, remember they had a thing that said Obama could trace one of his ancestors back to slavery through his white side. That's a loophole. You have to go inside and fix loopholes. There are a few ways to do this. I'm not going to discuss all of them because my stuff and Antonio's stuff, all the stuff just ends up in other people's mouths. But one of the ways to do that is to grandfather it. Also, one of your grandparents would have to have claimed black or Negro or whatever they was calling us during that period, that they were alive. There's a lot of ways to do this, but you have to do it. There are all sorts of flaws in this, but I ain't talking about it. Everybody says Yvette's so divisive. No, I didn't. I wasn't divisive at all. I left it alone. I said, you know what? You know, in terms of how we do our stuff, we'll fix it, but I don't want to say something that's going to embarrass him. So I might drop it, but I'm not going to make an issue out of it. But since we talking about it, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how he created pure reparations as a hashtag and backed away from ADOS. Let's talk about how y'all told me, no, that's not intentional, Yvette. He's not Darity wouldn't do that. That's Grandpapa. He's not Santa Claus. That's not what we're talking about. That's not who we're talking about. So let me see if I can find this quick second. Here it is. It was in this interview right here, right? And they asked him, why is reparations getting the attention that it's getting right now? Darity told the Chronicle that he is surprised at the attention the reparations is getting at the present moment. And this is somebody who rose to prominence because I played his video and then Antonio interviewed him. That's how he rose to prominence. And all of a sudden, the group of people, I'm talking y'all too, how many times did y'all retweet? All of a sudden, that person doesn't know your name. And you see nothing wrong with it. Everybody wants to go along like a thing ain't a thing. And a person ain't a person. Right? Let me bring up one more thing. Hold on a second. We got to just stop that. Let me just bring this back. And how many of y'all remember what happened after that? He came back and apologized. See, I always get in public and say stuff to the media and stuff, and then get back on Twitter and, well, I'm not going to. And I don't mean to make fun. I'm not trying to do that. But this is just what happens every time. I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of people not seeing it. It is what it is. What is happening is actually happening. ADOS has been critical to the resurgence of the reparations movement, has been critical to the resurgence, and I view myself as a member and beneficiary of that community. I will try to be more consciously consistent in mentioning the importance of ADOS. When interviewed, sometimes they edit out remarks. That's always the excuse and stuff. That's always it. That's always it. Well, I just made a kerfuffle on everybody. Just like today, people, oh, well, see, he made a mistake. You don't make a mistake and erode the cornerstone of the reparations movement that we brought you into. There is no you in the national media without ADOS to buoy you. And that's why Mr. Otis been running around in everybody's DMs saying very nasty things about us. Right? Putting together little teams that don't include us. Isn't that what's been happening? Let me see if I can find this. We aren't a part of the team that was in this interview. This is from another interview. Darity has enlisted a dozen black academics and activists in the self-titled Planning for Reparations Committee. Planning Committee for Reparations. This is nasty, the Assembly and BTP and all of them. Like we said, it's a whole shadow movement. You want to know why? You want to know why they've been going around calling us immigrationists and calling themselves reparationists? You want to know why BTP, we're reparationists, they're immigration. You want to know why everybody's saying that? Because the whole plan is to move people away from a certain kind of feeling about immigration, right? Because the end game is to what? Include immigrants in it. Not what our plan is. Our plan is to be inclusive, but in terms of our agenda, not in terms of reparations. So there's a space for inclusion. Their inclusion along the lines of reparations is destructive to everything we built. Everything. Everything. You have to understand that. And you have to understand that, hold on, I'm trying to pull one thing up really quickly. You have to understand that if you want to understand anything, you have to, once you open that door, to reparations, not to a transformative black agenda, not to class, not to resources, right? Not to protections for black people in general. Once you open that door for reparations, you destroy the whole movement. And for those who are like, no, Yvette and Tone didn't do this, Darity was very clear on who was leading this movement until he decided that he was going to lead it. With OG by his side. ADOS effort, led by Breaking Brown and Tone Talks, has been responsible for the dramatic surge of interest in black reparations. But wait a minute, Darity, you said you didn't know. An impressive accomplishment. Right? That's what you say on, what's the date on this? This is 3/21/19. But in the tweet I just showed you, he said he don't know. You said, Darity told the Chronicle that he is surprised at the attention that reparations is getting at the present moment. Come on, fam, how long? How long we gonna allow this game to be played and everybody act like we crazy? No. Well, y'all just trying to take credit, Yvette. You and Tone, listen, I didn't try to take anything. Darity willingly gave it to us because it is. The truth is just the truth. Nobody negotiates like this. Nobody negotiates where they start giving stuff away early. That's the Obama way for negotiation. Then you get just to laugh it off. And listen, y'all gotta start keeping that energy. You know the energy that you have for me all the time. Whenever I do something wrong, some of y'all, you just wait. You just sit and wait for me to make a mistake that you can screenshot or hear about. Keep that energy over there. If I had come on here and say, if I had gone on national TV and said, you know what, I'm after we got it all settled, because we figured out what to do with and how to help black immigrants. We figured that out. If I had backtracked on all of that in 2021, we're not talking 2018 or 2019. After we got it all figured out, if I were to go on a national news show and say, well, I'm open to black immigrants, blah, 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 blah. And people say, well, it's just a few. No. That a few will lead to many. Because a lot of groups have suffered discrimination. And so when you see a tweet like that, you say, hey, this person is willing to work with us, and they give credit, and we give credit, and we give credit to him for saying it's just for ADOS. Like, the thing we brought you in for, Darity, is because you said it was just for us. That's the thing that looped you in. You were clear. It is reparations only for ADOS. The only economist we could find, which is deplorable, who we could find who said this only goes to ADOS. The only one was you. And the one thing that brought you in here is the thing you threw away. And don't tell me nothing about, no, you bastardized your own work. You send a signal to Incobra, Sheila Jackson Lee, the Congressional Black Caucus. You send a signal to everybody, hey, I'm willing to play ball. Here's a little bat signal. I'm willing to play ball. Y'all see? Listen, we had to, I don't get into a lot, but we had to, you know, Antonio and I had to explain to Dr. Darity why it was stupid to be in line with Incobra in the first place. We had to explain this. Look at this red, black, and green stuff that he was aligned to. We said, listen, why are you involved with a movement that is contradictory to what you say you stand for? Why are you involved with these people when they are opposed to what you stand for? This doesn't make sense to us. You like to trash Incobra now, but let me tell you something. Incobra ain't changed. You changed. You finally figured out what your own academic stuff was and how they were contradictory to it. And ADOS gave you a way out. And ADOS actually has people in it that actually work and people at the head of it who actually know how to have a conversation and talk and advocate. And so you had a way out. And now you want to take everything. That's just selfishness. No, you don't want to take it. You want to give it away. You want to give it away. Valuable and sustained work has been done by NCOBRA and NARC on black reparations over many years. This is him in 2019. BLM National endorsed black reparations. Black reparations. We had to find the language. That was us. Come on, you on the NCOBRA train. Gosh, who are all these people running around here? Oh, just there's a whole smear campaign going on, and if it hasn't hit your DMs yet, it will. Now you want to go from how wonderful NCOBRA is to what a mess. Unfortunately, we are being pushed in that direction by NCOBRA. I'm increasingly under the impression that NARC and NCOBRA, anything anyone calls reparations is treated as such by them. How? Them was your fam. And there are other things that give me pause. There are other things that give me pause. Let me bring this up really quick. I'm still trying to figure out. How Darity broke ties with Antonio and I over me going at Talbot Swan. The same Talbot Swan who was on talking trash about us on Tariq Nasheed, who doesn't operate like a pastor in many ways, like this. That you were on us. You said you could not. You said I had agreed to come to the projected 2020 Louisville conference at the request of Breaking Brown and Tone Talks after the DM that YC posted. But when an assault was launched on Talbot Swan, that I viewed unnecessary, I withdrew. Oh, you better fall off that high horse, or you're gonna get pushed off. You better fall off of that because when Lord Abadaba, when he called Dr. Cosby an old pimp, you didn't say nothing. Not a word. When he called Christianity spookism, you said nothing. Not a word. You're a hypocrite. And you ought to be ashamed. And don't say, well, Yvette, you just be going at Darity. He don't be going at you like that. Well, wait a minute. When the peanut gallery, when BTP put up a whole thing exposing Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, who retweeted? What kind of academic does this? What kind of academic retweets stuff like this? Was this the same video where somebody wished we died? Right? You pulled out the conference, but you didn't announce it or whatever. You didn't announce you pulled out the conference. You just put it on Talbot Swan. You wasn't coming nowhere. You were looking for an out. That's what you chose. That's the out that you chose, because never forget the email that I put up from 2019 that I forgot tonight, which showed that Darity had emailed Jean and asked her how to distance himself from Antonio and Yvette a month before the first ADOS conference in 2019. That's on my timeline back a while. I'll find it and retweet it. You want people to buy your books, but you don't want to stand with the people. You don't even want to stand up for the people and the true pure reparations, which is just for ADOS. Look at this. Who retweet? What kind of academic retweets this? Especially, they're talking about the people who you admit are responsible for this moment. This is a bridge too far. I don't know who doesn't see this. I don't know how they don't see this. I don't know why they don't see this. If you don't see this, I can't help. But this is too much. Let me see if I can put them side by side. Hold on one second. I don't know who made who do what. I don't. But you can't say, you got to stop. If you don't see, people don't see the little slick stuff like that. People don't pay enough attention to the little slick stuff. And that's a problem too. Let me bring something up real quick. Because I just have to show like this contradiction. And this wasn't us. We've held our tongue so much on this. Tried not to say a lot of stuff. But some stuff you just can't let it go like that. Hold on a second. This is just it's abominable. What's the word? It's an abomination. My goodness. What are the other things? Hold on one second for me, fam. Oh, my images just be everywhere. Here we go. How does this work? So we're responsible for the dramatic surge in Yvette and Tonar and interest in black reparations, right? But you're also retweeting somebody who is exposing us and talking about us and trashing us and talking about us not only in terms of disagreement, but personally hoping for death. Who does this? And how much do you trust anybody who does this? How much? I'm just trying to figure it out. Let me put this one other tweet back up for just a second. Christianity is this is Lord Abadaba. Christianity is spookism, but Adolf's cult held its convention in a church. The pastor of the church of the spookism funds this movement. That's not true. Y'all people just be telling yourselves, what kind of stuff is this? But you retweet these people. Right? Right? Let me bring up one more email. Because let's just do it. Let me bring up one more email, fam. Gotta get this one. Gotta get this one. Let me look for it. Let me see. Here we go. I got you. Never forget that even before the first, never forget that first of all, Naheem was in that church. He has a picture with me. He was at that church, and all of a sudden it's a spookism church. Lord Abadaba. He was in that church. He has a picture with me outside that church. These people are grifters. And BTP is grifting so hard that they don't even understand that they're being taken advantage of. That they're being used for book sales. Then you're going to be dropped like a hot potato too. I told you that. From William Darity, PhD. This is y'all remember Gene? There was a whole big kerfuffle. And let me bring up, this is September 20, 2019 is like a couple of weeks before our first conference, which was in early October, October the 7th, I think it was. Look at the bottom of this email. From Dr. Darity. How do we craft a separation from Yvette and Tone without repudiating ADOS? Can that be done? Right? Right? Now the thing is, Jean put this email out a long time ago. I didn't pay any attention to it because I thought her and Daddy were just going at each other, right? I didn't really pay attention to nothing. I think I blocked her. Somebody else later on in life sent the email to me and said, Yvette, do you remember the email? And I said, no. And they said, well, you can go back through her timeline. She tweeted all this stuff out. By that time, I had blocked her. I don't have time to waste. Right? I don't have time for that. But that's what happened. That's what happened. That's what happened. So here we go again. Let's talk about who's really wrong and who's really right. Let's just take a little bit of time. Just take a moment. You ain't gotta take a long time. Let's do another side by side. And let's just try to figure out who's using who. So in March of 2019, you were talking about how we are responsible for this reparations movement and the resurgence and giving us our flowers and all of that stuff. And in September 2019, you were trying to figure out a way to distance yourself from us. But here's the thing that I think was realized. You realized that you needed two things. You needed book sales and you needed your own activism. And that's fam, that's the split that you see now. All this splitting going on. People are deciding they're going to go with Darity or people decide they're going to go with ADOS HQ. There was never any need for a split. We didn't choose the split. He did. You know why? Because of all the pressure. Because nobody cares about ADOS. Nobody cares about us. So yeah, I don't see why you're doing all that for them Negroes. Why? I don't understand, Derek. You could get so much more done if you would just change it. Get away from them. You remember that? If it wasn't for us, you'd still be showing up at Cobra conferences. I don't even know. I don't like people who throw rocks and hide their hands, though. That's what I do know. I don't like people who do that. I don't like people who just want to throw a rock and act like, and don't, hey, listen, if you want to come for me, don't send Abadaba to me or whatever. You do it yourself. Don't send the man in the bunker to be in people's DMs and telling lies. No, if you want to do it, you do it. If you want to come for the people who brought you here, then you do it. Who brought you to the party? Go and look at your Twitter now versus your Twitter then. Go look at his media appearances pre-ADOS. Go look at his book sales. How many of y'all have that book? How many of y'all put that on the Amazon bestseller list? Go look at that. I don't own the book. I didn't do that. You gotta just be here 12 years. No, make that claim black. Make it on your birth certificate. What your mama say you was? That's what you is then. Weirdness. This is odd. But, you know, it is what it is. And I said I won't take too long, so I'm gonna leave it there for now. But, you know, I just want to say one last time that there is a place for economists in the movement, and a wide array of economists. There's not just one. And just because someone is decent at economics does not necessarily mean that person is decent at politics or that they have your best interests at heart in terms of politics. I don't know how much more you have to see. I don't know how much more we have to do. Because I will tell you, throwing up this trial balloon should let you know this is the direction. Because remember when before Darity split with ADOS, he threw up a trial balloon too. That's what he was doing with that thing when he said, oh, I forgot to mention ADOS. I'll do better next time. Remember he said that, and now he don't mention ADOS no more. That was a trial balloon. The man has a pattern. That's what he does. He throws up a trial balloon to see how everybody reacts. And we reacted like what? We said no. Why you didn't mention ADOS? You in this thing and you said you don't know what happened. You said you don't know how we got here. That was his trial balloon. That's what he does every time. He throws it up there and see. Let me see if they're going to notice. And he said, oh, what did he say then? Oh, I'll be more careful. I'll be more careful to mention to mention ADOS next time. That's what he said. I give Yvette and Antonio credit, and I'll be more careful to mention ADOS next time. Now he don't mention ADOS no more. Darity ain't mentioned ADOS in I don't know how long. He mentions pure reparations only. And when how many people said that pure reparations was a carve out? Just like reparationist was a carve out. Shout out to ADOS ATL who said it was a carve out. When people start making up new stuff, it's a carve out. It's a carve out. They're distancing themselves. That's the method people use to distance themselves. They create new words, new language. Darity said, I'll be more careful. Let me bring it back up if I can. I'll be more careful to mention ADOS. Right? That's what he said. But that's not what happened. That's what you call it. That's a trial balloon. That's a trial balloon. You know that? He got a lot of trial balloons. Hold on. Yeah, let me see if I can find the other one though. I don't see it. But that's what he said. He was going to be more careful to mention us. He don't mention us no more. That's what he always does. That's always the slick move. To say the thing that you gonna do and just see what the reaction to it. And that lets people know whether you're going to take it fast or you're going to take it slow. That's just what it is. And then, you work with the guy. It's kind of curious to me that the guy who did the hit piece, at Harvard, you work with him. Y'all working on the project together. And you like, well, I don't know why he was involved with some shardy work. But Darity, you work with this guy who's doing this hit piece, who did that Kennedy School hit piece on us. That's too much of a coincidence. Y'all working on something else, getting funded for another study. Y'all work together. Anyway, fam, I'm going to take a few calls tonight, probably not the normal amount, but just give me a minute to set up the phones, and we will be back, and we will have a conversation. right, fam, we are back. And I just put on my Twitter to deal with one of the little tattletales who always goes around and just, well, Yvette, Darity, Yvette is saying bad things on the internet. No, I'm just telling the truth. Like, you have to defend stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know people who don't understand. You have to defend. This proves she's not in favor of reparations. No, it just proves it. I'm not gonna let anybody squander this justice claim. It's on my timeline. Had to just tweet that out because these people, they're like big babies too. Like, just run over there. It's a thing going on. You a grown man. Act like it, Marcus. Anyway, let me go to my first caller. I am going to 678. What is your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind?
Good evening, Yvette. This is Ray out of College Park.
Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Hey, I want to thank you for this advanced political science class on understanding what's going on with Professor Darity. Derek Hamilton was the first one to jump ship.
Yep.
With the stuff that he was doing. And then there's been other grifters that come along, like Tariq Nasheed and others. And it's amazing how when you stand on your square, how it literally, the people who are allegedly allies, who are cloaking themselves as allies, are revealed. And again, I want to thank you for this advanced class, this advanced political science class. Now, I'm going to get on off the line, but I wanted to bring this to the family's attention. Now, I just read earlier today that Ice Cube, that Joe Biden them got in touch with him, and he's supposed to be having a meeting with him later on this month sometime. And that he said that he was going to bring some professionals along with him. But he didn't reveal who he was bringing along. And before we had this class tonight, I was literally thinking, man, I hope that that it be William Darity. And others had commented that some of them wanted Anderson to go, Claude Anderson. And others were saying it wouldn't be right unless Yvette and Antonio was there. And I'm starting to understand now and see clearly that money changes people. It literally makes them who they really are. And I guess it must be about the money and the possible grants or loans that he might be getting. Well, but hey, thanks again for the dance class.
Thank you, fam, for calling in. I appreciate it. And I think something happens too, right? Because a lot of times when I'm not diminishing. I love academics. When I say they're not built to lead movements, and you can always find some kind of exception, but that's going to be hard. Because how you navigate the academic world and what's required in that world isn't what's required in this world, right? How you kind of navigate as an academic to get where you got and get where you've gotten isn't how you navigate. Isn't how we have to navigate. And the thing that you have to do is not get in the way of us and play your position. We all have position to play. But like the problem with Dr. Darity is that he's been out of position for a long time. And really and truthfully, I've said some stuff, but I haven't really checked him like he deserves to be checked. I left it up to the people. And the people just decided, no, we're not going to do anything. And it's all these receipts floating around. It ain't for me to have to find it. But then the straw to break the camel's back is when you put out that. When you signal. Because that's a bat signal. To everybody who knows that you have been on board with ADOS, that's a bat signal that says I'm open to including immigrants. And our solution for that was a different solution that did not give away our justice claim. There's a way that you can make life better and have protections for Black American non-ADOS and immigrants. Black immigrants. There's a way to do that, but you do that through a black agenda. You do not touch that intergenerational transfer of wealth that was plundered from us and give it to a group that came here voluntarily. And when you put up this sort of trial balloon, that's a signal that that's the direction that you're going. And what happened to you is that the reaction was just way too ferocious. But he'll be back. The same way he said he was going to continue to use ADOS and he'd be more careful, and then he decided not to use ADOS at all. He'll be back. Darity never should have came out of his lane. And you all, especially those of you in California, New York, I know which chapters, all these, you all never should have encouraged him to get out of that lane because of your own career ambitions. If you want to go to Hollywood, go get on the casting couch or however you do it, do an audition. I don't care. This ain't that thing. Now, let me go to my next caller. 213-213. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello?
Hey, 213. What's going on?
Yeah, this is Coco calling from Los Angeles.
Hey,
Yvette?
Coco. Yeah.
How you doing? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good.
You that is not my number, but okay. I don't know. I've been wanting to call you up the show for a while. I've been kind of nervous.
Oh, take your time.
Before I start, I want to say that I like what you do. I think you're fighting for an admirable cause. I called kind of to debate you because you said something on your show last time, and I'm not against you at all, but you said you said you're not for reparations for the LGBTQ, and I want to say I don't understand why not. When I'm transgender, so just so you know why I feel so strong about this, but I think we need them the most, and this is gonna probably upset some people, but I think Black people should fund it because they do the most to harm us. They say the most hateful things. They run conspiracy theories on YouTube on a daily basis. They're killing us in just about every Black-owned country on the face of the earth, except for like South Africa, but Jamaica and just about every sub-Saharan African nation. They just kill all the gay people in their society. So
we're not in South Africa. What are you bringing up Africa for? Listen, I understand one thing about this call. This is bait, and I'm not taking this bait. Now I wish you all the best of luck in your life and everything that happens in your life, but this is bait. And no, I'm not debating. How do you tell? Because that's not even the topic of the show. You just called in with your own thing. You just gonna hijack the whole show. How do you tell a group? What have I always said, family? Race, in terms of race, is really lineage. But how they have made it, they've called it race, so I'm calling it that just for this conversation. That is the tie that binds. That is the tie that binds. That's the reason why if you LGBT or whatever, you ain't got no money, you just as broke as the heterosexual, everybody. The tie that binds is the tie that goes all the way back to slavery. All this divisive stuff about Black people hurt us the most, and so Black people got to pay reparations to LGBT. This is, I don't even know. I don't have no words, but it's stupid. So I'm just trying to figure out when have the LGBT community as a whole been whipped and made to pick cotton, and everything that we read about and half has never been told. I just want to know when that happened to you. And this is just to say these two things are very different. If you can't see that, then there's no conversation to be had. This is different. Lord have mercy. What's going on? I'm not doing no Friday show no more. Y'all, this is the kind of, what in the world? My goodness. Anyway, I'm going to 347. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Hi, this is Ian from Brooklyn, New York, 80 West NYC, Brooklyn, New York, NYC. I always wondering when Darity was making all these book appearances on media and and all this stuff, he wasn't mentioning 80 West. I was wondering why he was not mentioning 80 West, and 80 West was the one that basically propelled his position in the media. So I was always wondering why he was doing that. My issue is that if
Darity, I think Darity should have posed a question about, he should have posed the question that, should immigrants receive reparations? Because he would have gotten a lot of backlash if he would pose the question, posed it as a question. But being that he said what he said, he opened up a can of worms, and he eaten every last worm that he opened the can came out of the can. So it's his fault. So
well, and it's not a mistake.
Thank you, Yvette.
No, thank you, fam. I appreciate you.
For what you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for what you're doing. We love you, and keep doing what you got to do.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate you. And let me just say this. Let me just say this. This wasn't a mistake. See, people gotta always. I think it's cause Dr. Darity's so jolly and everything that people think like, oh, he just made a mistake, and everybody makes a mistake, and everybody's position is evolving. If this is your life, you can't say this is your life work and then say you're still evolving. No, this wasn't a mistake. He said it himself. It's a trial balloon. That means I want to do this. Because remember the Rahm Emanuel trial balloon? The Rahm Emanuel trial balloon was, I want to do this. I want to put Rahm Emanuel as Secretary of Transportation. Let me tell some reporters and see how people react. And everybody rejected it, so it didn't happen. But they're still trying to find a place to stick Rahm. I just read that the other day. That means this is something that you want to do. This is a direction in which you want to pivot. That's what a trial balloon is. So it's not a mistake. And if you say it's a mistake, you're saying something, that even Darity didn't say. He didn't say that it was a mistake. He said my trial balloon, didn't go anywhere. And so I'm not going to mention that again, but we know that you are going to mention that again because that's what you said about ADOS. I'll try to be more careful and mention ADOS. And then you changed the whole ADOS hashtag to pure reparations. You're not going to try to be more careful because this was an intentional act. Let me go to my next call. I'm going to 215. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing?
I know this is a lot. It's a lot. However, I called him before, and I always say this. Anytime it's a movement, grassroots movement that is happening, and someone, especially from the world, the world of scholars, attaches themselves to a grassroots movement, I'm always skeptical, all the time, regardless of what's going on, because the line that they're teetering on is a line of, grassroots and a line of, like you said, scholarship. You can't be too real while you're in that particular world. So it was pretty much a money grab, i.e., Black Lives Matter, i.e., the whole thing going on with Nick Cannon. And like you said, they always come back. They always come back because this is where it's at.
Yeah, and they always don't it's. See, the thing is, but you wouldn't. See, the thing is, if Darity hadn't put himself in that position to try to anoint himself the leader of the movement, he wouldn't have taken as much heat if he had just kind of stayed in the role of economist, right? You don't get that kind of heat. He moved outside of that and then moved to create a whole new apparatus. And so you got the heat because you put yourself in all these positions. And then you decided, hey, I'm going to have to distance myself from these people. And you did it. You played around with it till you figured it out.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. And the reality is that it was premeditated. And it always is. Because you can't be on two sides of the fence. You can't. And he didn't put his... Anytime you're trying to take somebody's original thought, especially when it's grassroots and it's as important as this is with ADOS, you have to take a position. You have to. And he wasn't prepared to.
Or he was prepared to take the wrong position, right? Or waffle on your position. Yep.
Right. And but he will be back. I'm telling you, they always come back because this is all we have is each other. Okay? Yeah. The lineage that binds us to ADOS, that's all we have. Because when he's, pumped and dumped, it's over with. So where are you coming back to? You're coming back to your tribe for forgiveness, either for forgiveness or to blame us for all of your problems.
Well, it'll probably be number 2, but he'll probably just go back and teach or whatever. Like, but I think now, like, I think a lot of people are really vying to be on the commission. And, you know, the most important thing for me is, what do you do when you get on that commission? See, if you're already in this moment negotiating away the justice claim of ADOS, and you're not even in that position yet where people are demanding you to negotiate, what does that look like? What you're going to do when you get in that position, right? So if you're already doing that, if you're already negotiating that away, why in the world would I trust you to be in that position? You're already throwing up trial balloons and said, maybe include this small number. And people will say, what is this, a real small number? No, that small number opens the door to other groups who can claim discrimination. And why would it not?
Right.
So
right, and it won't. And it won't. So, you know what? I'm not going to hold you too long. I feel your pain over here. I will curse for you. But I don't want to... I don't want to offend nobody, you know.
I appreciate you.
I'm going to get out of here. Listen.
Thank you.
I love your show. This is my 3rd time on here. So I'm almost like a stalker, but it's okay, right?
That's fine. It's fine. I appreciate you. Fam. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, Yvette.
You have a good weekend. Appreciate you. I'm going right now to 301. 301, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, my name's Kimberly. I'm calling from Prince George's County, Maryland. I'm a first-time caller. I've been listening to your show for about 2 years. One of your fellow Bison introduced me to you. So I enjoy your show. I enjoy what you and Antonio are doing. I just want to be very brief.
Okay.
I'm just really catching up on everything that's going on with Dr. Darity. I've been getting bits and pieces, and now that you pulled everything together, this is disgraceful. He's disgraceful. All those people, the BTP, the NA, whatever, disgraceful. They are just a bunch of grifters. I'm glad you're calling them out. Now that I have a better understanding of what's going on, I'm glad I do, and now I'm just willing to jump in with both feet and do what I need to, what I can do to help.
Thank you.
I was going back and forth on Twitter today because of Dr. Darity's so-called trial balloon that he just set up, and this one person who was a Caribbean person who was, I guess, an immigrant, had all these reasons based on his so-called trial balloon about why they should get reparations.
Yep.
And I just straight up, flat out told him, you don't deserve it. You weren't here. You didn't go through what my people went through. And I told her, my grandmother's father was owned by his own father. He and his mother were owned. That's slavery. She was born in 1900. And I said, you don't get my reparations. And I'm going to keep kicking the door shut so you and the rest of these people who just showed up last night don't get reparations.
And the thing is, we have a black agenda. That is for you and us, but that's for you too. That's inclusive. This thing right here is not inclusive. That thing right there is. And see, the thing is, you brought up a good point, though. By Darity floating that trial balloon, he emboldened a lot of people who are opposed to what ADOS has been saying, which is what Darity used to say. So he opened the door for them to be saying, for them to say, see, you ADOS people are just divisive. Even Darity says that he might be able to consider blah blah blah. Even Darity says it's y'all. It's not him. It's y'all. Y'all the problem. It puts the onus on us to be the ones to have to defend the thing that's anchored, Darity, in that one thing that you got right. One thing that you got right. And we use you because you were on the same page as us on that. Because we came first. Like, in terms of, like, movement. We were the ones who said, like, only ADOS. Okay, let's find an economist who believes that. This one does. And then the one thing the one little anchor point that we needed, nobody needs your calculation. I can do that in my own sleep. What we need was an economist saying, this is who gets it. This is who it goes to.
Right.
Now you threw that away.
Right. And now they're bold. Just like you said, they're beating their chest and they're like, hey, I was here in 1964. No, it doesn't matter. You didn't bear what my people and my friends' people bore. They bore the cost of slavery, Jim Crow, and all this crap that the U.S. has legally thrown at us. You don't get that. No. Back up. Back up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But thank you. I'm just I'll get off the line. I just wanted to just let you know that I have your back. I'm going to join, HQ when it gets, established, and I'm ready to help.
Thank you, fam. Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. And this hasn't. It wasn't just now. I know I already said that. But let me just reiterate that. So much of what we have been experiencing in terms of these rogue chapters and stuff has been because, like, there has been, for lack of a better word, Darity, ADOS, and ADOS HQ. That's why if you look at my timeline, the person defending, and saying, "Hey, Darity," the person who's tattletelling as a grown person, you a whole grown man, is associated with that group, and so there has been this whole shadow group, and we haven't been able to do a lot because of the tension between. Like, y'all don't know the half, so nobody tried to just come out here and do this. You just, when you say that stuff, you don't leave any. And then you don't leave any choice. There's an empire of lies. No, the truth is the truth. A lot of receipts here tonight. The truth is the truth. You have a track record. Like, stop lying, Marcus. Anyway, let me go to my next call. I am going right now to 312. 312. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, fam? It's Warren calling from Dallas via Chicago. How you doing this evening?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm sadder than you are about this. This is a sad state of affairs, sister. It's
gonna be all right.
I don't know what to say. It's funny because I remember, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, I saw a video of Darity on YouTube, and he was at some university talking in very convoluted ways about reparations, and at the end of his speech, he was asked a question. One of them was about immigrants, and what was the other one? But anyway, he didn't have an answer, and I remember thinking, this should be easy for him. I know he's, not he didn't study political science like you did, but you're someone who, is basically, an economist, on board with, you and Tone. Something like that should be very easy to push back against. It was kind of like Ta-Nehisi Coates when Obama, pushed back the same way, and Ta-Nehisi didn't really just say, hey, you come here voluntarily, you take on the country's debt, you do that on your own. We don't choose the taxes we pay. I mean, you know the drill.
Yeah, basic. Yeah,
so
basic
I was just
stuff.
shocked that he wasn't able to quickly and effectively and succinctly have a counter to that. So I was, it was kind of like, that's kind of weird, but I mean, it just kind of hits home with what with what you say and what many black leaders have said for generations, which is our biggest fight is not really white supremacy. That's probably going to be the easy part. The biggest fight is going to be those within our ranks, and I'm talking not just the diaspora in general, but ADOS specifically. That's why the book club is so important for education, because there's so much ignorance about what we are legitimately owed out there. And then also thinking collectively and thinking beyond the material, beyond the grift. What these people are doing, those of them who are actual ADOS people, they're undermining their own argument, and they're undermining, the legitimacy of our claim, and they're weakening our ability to be able to go after that claim with specificity and with support. They're making it. They're going to make it very easy for the powers that be to just basically laugh them out of the courtroom, because they know they don't owe these people who just got here nothing. They know that. So
Yeah, and this is not. And let me
know,
just. You brought up a. You know what? You brought up a good point in terms of like what we were talking about in terms of black respectability and things like that. And you all know I don't like black respectability, but I don't. But respectability is another thing. I don't think you should perform necessarily for the white gaze. But like I said, it had an impact that King and those people had on Suits when the dogs attacked. But the other side of that is this. Martin needed Malcolm, right? Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker. You don't. Somebody got to tell the truth, right? Because the only way you shame the devil is to tell the truth. You don't shame the devil by showing up and say, "Well, let's just talk real nice about how the stuff you've been doing ain't quite right." That ain't worked. And so you have to encapsulate it in this way. And so you don't push away from that. Either you have to stand with it, or you just can walk away and let us use your information as best we can, right? Because we've always had truth tellers, and truth tellers, the people who tell the truth. Martin was just very eloquent in how he told the truth, but he told the truth. He was eloquent truth teller, but he told the truth. You gotta tell the truth. And this thing, this trial balloon ain't the truth of what's owed to ADOS.
Do you think that he actually, and maybe I'm giving him more credit than I should, but it seems like, this is kind of basic stuff. It seems like he should or would already know this. Do you think that he does, and he's just, I'm just going to get the bag, because I don't know if I am associated with a legitimate reparations movement that has specificity with the claim that this is going to undermine him in academia, so he's, playing a nut role, for lack of a better term, as far as, like not being able to push back against the question that he was asked when I told you, he did his speech.
Well, I think if I had to guess, I don't know, but if I had to guess, there are two things. There's careerism, right? Because you exist amongst a people who may think who may think you're wrong, but it will be the glory of your life to probably be on that commission. And so there is a careerist ambition there, right? And you also get a lot of pressure with people who, there's nothing more American than stepping on the neck of ADOS. So there are also people who are like, you know what? We could let you in all these rooms, fly you around the country, if you would let this part go. Like, even if it doesn't happen, we will fly you everywhere. You get way more speaking fees than you're getting now, and you're getting a real decent amount now. You gotta let
academically or intellectually, it makes them look like a fool, because it's like it should be painfully obvious. The United States doesn't owe Musa Busa anything.
Well, I don't want to be disparaging of anyone's name, like, because that's your culture, whatever. But what I'm saying is, and I think everybody's culture is rich and their lineage is rich, and everybody has something there that they should and be proud of, including us.
Sure.
Like so. But what I'm saying is, and I'm gonna let you go after this so we can get like maybe a couple more calls in. I want to thank you for calling in.
No problem.
But I think what I think it is. What I think it is, and I can't guess. I think Dr. Darity knows this isn't the right path to go. But some people are trained and have become successful by going the path of least resistance in terms of how they react to power, right? In terms of their interaction and their proximity to power. So you do what power asks you to do, and you can try to push against it for a while, but eventually, if you don't have the wherewithal, eventually you just kind of recede. But I think in terms of some business ventures, not business ventures, but in terms of like what world you're in, right? Academic ventures or whatever. In your career, you don't have that kind of heart. You have a different kind of way that you've navigated your life and has made you successful. But the thing that makes you successful in academia is not the thing that makes you successful in movement work. It's not the thing that makes you successful in the halls of Congress. It's not the thing that makes you successful in organizing or bringing on organizers who know how to organize. It's not the thing that makes you successful in that. And so Darity has done that in a way. And that's what I mean by being well outside of his lane and thinking the thing that makes him successful in that is going to allow him to create a new ADOS with these nasty chapters, NAASD and BTP and all of that. You shouldn't. That's not your lane. Your lane is not that lane. But you've been so desperate to replace Antonio and Yvette that's the lane you put yourself in, and in doing so, you just created a massive mess, internally and externally. And you don't have to clean it up. It'd be nice to just make a mess and you can just walk off. 857, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette.
Hey.
This is Karen from Massachusetts.
Hey, Karen.
So, my opinion is that either Darity was all about the bag in the beginning, and he saw being with you and Tone, and was going to help him get exposure for his book, whatever, speaking engagements, whatever. Either that was who he is, or enough people got to him and told him he was on the wrong side, that ADOS is a losing cause, and he better get on this side because we got the connections, and we got this, and we got that, and he better, take advantage of what he can get out of it because they don't believe that we're going to make it, that we're going to do it. So they believe we're never going to get to our goal, so you better get what you can get out of it now, is what I think. And it's just, people are selling us out, and I'm not shocked. And we as ADOS have to put our armor on. We have to expose those who are, working against us. And we just have to come together as a family stronger and understand there's many of enemies out there, and they're going to smile in our face trying to stab us in the back. And we just got to be aware. We've got to have each other's back, and we've got to, we got to jump on this when it happens. So you're doing the right thing, exposing it, and we just got to understand there's going to be casualties of war, and people get stabbed in their backs, and we just got to continue to educate ourselves and be willing to accept the truth of who people really are, not who we want them to be.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and I want to thank you for calling in, fam, because I know people stab you in the back. I pick knives out of my back all the time. I got the ointment ready and everything. So I totally get it. And the thing is, people have to understand, and Antonio can attest to this. We said little stuff on Twitter to signal to people what was happening, and giving some receipts on Twitter, but nobody wanted to do this show, right? This is something that I relish doing. Right, because we have tried for a very long time to kind of not come out full force. We say a little stuff, or we put a little stuff out. We do a little zinger, a little criticism here and there. I'll bury a little criticism in a show, but the show is not about him. But at this point, you endanger the whole project. And at this point, it's irresponsible not to do a show and call this out, because this is so that's how problematic that's how problematic that trial balloon was. It is that problematic. It is problematic to the movement, and it's a poison pill to the movement. And so you have to call it out.
Agree.
Thank you, fam.
I agree. You're absolutely right. And I don't know, we should have a war committee or something.
Yeah.
We have a group that jumps on stuff like this when we hear it. I mean, of course, it has to be a meeting with you and Tone, how to go about it. But we need these. We need a media committee. We need a war committee.
Yeah, thank you. I agree, fam. Thank you. Thank you.
These people are trying to defeat us.
I know. I appreciate you, fam. Thank you so much for calling in.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you. And I think that's why, there's some things you can't stop, but I think that's why when, ADOS HQ, we're going to have to be real clear about our mission, and our mission statement. Because what people love to do is kind of run roughshod over the mission, and engage in the worst kind of mission creep, and then say, I didn't do nothing. It's the same thing, right? And so you have to have something that says, no, this is specifically something, what you've done here does not adhere to what our mission is. This is not our mission. This is not a part of our mission statement, right? So I'm gonna take one last call. And that's probably gonna be it for this pop-up show. 617. I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, it's Mike from Brooklyn. I haven't called in a while.
Hey, Mike.
I haven't been on the show in a while, but it's great to hear from you again.
What's going on?
And I just have to say, what was that? I'm sorry.
No, I said, what's going on? What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing much. I'm just thoroughly disappointed. Even though I'm a millennial, I don't really use social media. I just got it maybe like 6 months ago. I'm very technologically proficient, but I always looked at Twitter, Facebook as like, if I was a noble and I wanted to know what the peasants were thinking, I would create something like that. So I always stayed away from it. The only reason I finally got it like 8 months ago is because CARNELL'S was ripping everybody off, and they wouldn't take my calls. They were like overcharging during the pandemic, and they only paid attention to me when I blasted them on social media. So of course, one of the first people I followed was you, Tone, everybody. And I didn't understand what was going on because I didn't have time to check into the show. And I'm starting to see these feeds of all these people. And it's crazy. It's like, it first started with Tariq, like you mentioned. I mean, I remember that movie with American Gangster, where the Cuba Gooding Jr. character made that fake blue magic. And Denzel politely told him, just don't call it blue magic.
Yeah.
But Tariq did the same thing with FBA. He created like a bootleg ADOS as a grifter move. And he got a lot of the lower frequency thinking people. And initially, I would, from time to time check in on his show because it was hilarious. But after a while, I'm like, it's like you're a kid. After Halloween, you get all this candy. You can't eat candy all day. After a while, you need some nutrition. You need a foundation. So I was like, this is a little juvenile. So if you need data, if you're a mature person, you go to ADOS. You get charts. You get graphs. You get grounded in facts so that you can convey your justice claim properly to people. And then I saw these other small little groups around BTP. I never heard of them because I've been gone for months. So one thing I'll tell you, what everyone should do is unify, of course, because you can be more effective as a group. But unfortunately, some people don't want to get in line with the rank and file. They see that you and Tone have everything orderly, organized, and they know they cannot siphon from that. So what a lot of these people do, especially in New York, I see it all the time. You got these little groups. They don't want to join and make the movement more powerful. Oh, no, I'll set up my own little movement. And one of the reasons is, you alluded to it, money. And other people like to, I'm sad to say this, they like to prey upon impressionable women. That's what a lot of it is. They want to have their own little groups so they can, they can impress the uninformed or those that are easily fall into things like that. So it's just really unfortunate. And I've never been so disappointed in, I don't like to put everyone into a group. I know you're Generation X, I'm a millennial, but the boomers overall, not all of them, I know statistically speaking, I've been just thoroughly disappointed. It's not about them. It's not about me. It's about our children. It's about the next generation. Who would do something so selfish? Like just to be put on committees. I've never seen anything like this. I don't understand it. So thank you for explaining, because I've been gone. I didn't understand what was going on.
It's careerism. It's careerism. I thank you. I appreciate you for calling in. Thank you so much. Thank you, fam. But it's careerism. I know it's this is just kind of, and then some people say, well, by what right do Yvette and Antonio? By what right? I'm really, and then people will pump up your heads. You gotta be very careful. I always appreciate the roses that I get, and I think that's wonderful, and I love it because I'm here now. Give it to me here. But that should not blow up your head. Don't let nobody blow your ego up and blow smoke up your butt, because you're going to be in a world of trouble. You're going to be in a world of trouble if you develop this big ego and you say, well, I should be leading this. No. We're not saying that, because we're saying if I ever thought I'm just not good at it, and I'm just not strong, and I don't have the warrior spirit for this, because that's what you need. If I ever thought I didn't have it, I wouldn't be here. I'd be like, you know what? Gotta find somebody else. I lost something. I lost a step or something like that. Like, you don't let nobody just, when you don't let people blow you up though and convince you that you're something that you're not. You don't let people do that. You don't let people have that kind of impact on yourself. The one thing you always have to kind of remember is that you're not better than nobody else, and you're not worse than nobody else. So you don't have no self-esteem problem, right? In the sense of you don't have no self-esteem problem in the sense of like feeling like you're less than or you're worse than. But you also don't want to feel like you're better than anybody else. Like, those things are both like very, very problematic. And I think, sometimes when people get in front of cameras and people start talking to you and people start telling you that you are the bee's knees and all that kind of stuff, you start feeling a certain way about yourself. And it's problematic if that happens. You should always be in a space where you humble yourself. Yeah, Darity, you shouldn't, I don't know why. And they shouldn't be doing this. And you can't, no. Because everybody got something that could, me and everybody else, we all got something that could be fixed or you could be better at. And some stuff that you're not going to be good at. I'm not going to go around and say, yeah. I should be writing all kinds of books on econ and stuff like that. No. I'm going to play my part. I'm going to play my position. And so with that, fam, we're going to end the show right there. It is what it is. You hate to have to be doing this stuff all the time and having these fights. Hopefully with this last purge, we can move forward with something really good, really structured, with people who are cohesive and are really interested in doing things for the collective as opposed to for themselves. So hopefully this is a good thing. I think it's great that all this stuff happened, right before the launch of HQ and all that stuff. So I think that's a wonderful thing. I think everything happens for a reason. And I think it's going to work out for the best. Some things had to be revealed. Listen, what did I say? Everything, if it don't come out in the wash, it's going to come out in the rinse. So now it's out. We deal with it and we move on. See you next time, fam. Hit that like button on your way out, and I appreciate you.